Now let's bring in Dr. Hassan Hanenje, Director of the Horn International Institute for Strategic Studies, for further discussion on this. Dr. Hanenje, is the Prime Minister's resignation, if indeed it happens, expected, and why?
The Prime Minister in recent weeks has been facing enormous pressure, especially from public protests that don't recognize the arrangement that he reached with the military. And that could be putting a lot of pressure because of the apparent erosion of legitimacy in the wake of hundreds of thousands of Sudanese people protesting against the government. But secondly, it may be also be informed by the paralysis that was occasioned by the recent coup, in which he's been incapable of actually making any real progress towards the transition as planned. And finally, it could also be a move to try and also put more pressure on the military to make some concessions, because the status quo cannot be sustained. And so at this rate, there's a likelihood that his government may fall. And so it also be a tactic by him to try and put pressure on the government.
So what then is the future of Sudan if indeed the Prime Minister resigns?
What we may likely see is that the military may first move to consolidate its role that it has sought to do for a long time. But secondly, because of the increased public protests and pressure and the expected international pressure, they may appoint some other ally, the civilian, as a caretaker in the meantime, as they try to guide the country towards a transition. But the worst case scenario, which I think of many fear, is that there's going to be an escalation of this crisis in which may witness a lot of bloodshed and a lot of protests that may lead to an eventual change in the military government, but also potentially another transition government, perhaps in 2022 or after that. And so there are a number of scenarios that may be expected, but none of them is actually pleasant for Sudan or for the region.
Dr. Hassan Hanenje, we appreciate the insights. Thank you for joining us.